Buongiorno, welcome to my channel. Sorry for this cheesy introduction, but I was really inspired by these beautiful flowers that I found today. So today we are going to talk about peony fragrances. So summer is approaching and I find peony and rose are two flowers that really for me symbolize spring and summer. For me personally, I love peonies in summer especially and rose more for springtime, but both work beautiful in spring and summer. So if you are a peony lover like me and you are searching for the best peony fragrances in the market, then please keep on watching. And before you start, if you are new here, hi, welcome. My name is Noura, and on this channel I mostly talk about fragrances, but also some makeup and skincare and lifestyle in general. So if you are a fragrance lover, then make sure to subscribe and also to hit the notification bell so you will not miss any of my new uploads, and I have quite exciting videos coming soon, so make sure to hit that notification button. And today's video, as I said, is dedicated to one of the most beautiful flowers in my opinion, peonies. So peonies are grown originally in China, like in the Far East, are associated, or they were the symbol of good luck, friendship, elegance, poise. So you will find this beautiful flower used in a lot of artwork in China and also in Japan. And when the beautiful peonies arrived to Europe, they started slowly to be used also in fragrances. Peonies, to my knowledge, cannot be extracted. So it's not like rose and jasmine, where they go through a process where you get like the oil, like the essence of these flowers. I think peonies are an accord, so like orchids, like lily of the valley and other flowers. Although they resemble or they have a lot of similarities with roses, but they do have some quality to them that makes them quite distinctive and for me more suitable for summertime. Because peonies have this fresh, almost aquatic, but it's not an aquatic like a lotus, but they have this watery quality to them, a little bit greenness and freshness. And this is why I always associate peonies with summer, because they give me this fresh, uplifting feelings that I seek in the heat of the summer. In most cases, you will find peonies mixed with rose in like almost all of the fragrances, because they do harmonize together very well. They also work very well with watery notes, with the flowers that have this watery quality to them, like lotus. So you will find it combined with like lotus and watery notes in one of the most famous fragrances that have peony, Versace Bright Crystal, for example. And you will find it in a lot of fragrances combined with pink pepper, like for example Pivoine Printemps from Lancome. They work very well together. So I find this sparkling feeling, spiciness, sparkling feeling of the pepper, of the pink pepper, goes very well with this fresh, watery qualities that peonies have. Another note that I find combines really well with peony is musk. And for obvious reasons, musk gives a little bit of soapiness, clean vibe to it, and peony with the watery note, with the freshness, just works very well with musk fragrances and soapy fragrances in general. Another note that you will find in a lot of peony fragrances is also raspberry. Or berries in general, but especially raspberry. So in a lot of fruity floral fragrances, if the peony is not the predominant note, it's always like a supporting role in the fragrance along with rose. To me, like the peony prevents the berries and the raspberry to become sickly sweet, or it just balances out the berries or the raspberry in the fragrance. So I have here a selection of fragrances where the peonies are combined with one or two of the notes that I just talked about. And I decided to rank them according to the strength of the peony inside the fragrance. So from the least concentration to the most concentration of peony. But in all of them, you can really smell the peony, and it is a predominant note in this fragrance. And I made sure that the fragrances that I chose are from all price range. So you will find really cheapies, designer, and like high-end luxury fragrances as well. My next pick is from the private collection from Christian Dior, and this is Holy Peony. And in this fragrance, the peonies are combined with raspberry. You really get the peonies, but it's more of a supporting role. Especially in the dry down, this fragrance gets very sweet. And I find that the peonies, along with other notes, of course, really help to uplift it and make it wearable for someone who doesn't like sweet fragrances like I do. And if you watched my first impression video of Maison Christian Dior, you will know that I ranked this one quite high. But since that video, I managed to get my notes almost on all the fragrances from the line, from like the La Collection Prive from Christian Dior. And although I still like this one, it's not so high on my list. But I can see how this one will be a favorite of a lot of people, especially who love fruity floral fragrances. This one you will get nice longevity, let's say a decent longevity, and let's say a moderate sillage if you overspray. So if you love raspberry and peony, then check out Holy Peony from Christian Dior. Next is a fragrance that I personally don't own, and this is Dolce & Gabbana Dolce Peony. And here the peonies are combined with mirabelle, pear and honey. So you may say, but with these notes, this will be quite a sweet fragrance, but it's actually not. It's very soft, light, fresh fragrance, has of course some sweetness, but not cloying in any way. And to be completely honest, I don't know why they named this fragrance Peony, because although you can smell the peony in this fragrance, it's not the main character, let's say, for this fragrance. The main character for me in this fragrance is the mirabelle. So I think they should have called it Dolce Mirabelle, but I think the name Dolce Mirabelle is not so nice as Dolce Peony. But yeah, anyway, so you get the peony for sure, but it's more the Mirabelle that you get. This is quite an easygoing, no-brainer kind of a fragrance. Very mass appealing, like all of the Dolce range. But longevity and sillage on this one is not so great, so especially with the price tag. But I find this to be the issue with like almost all of the Dolce range. Yeah, all of the Dolce range have a problem with longevity and sillage. And I'm not a fan of the range, to be honest, but this one I do like. Although this is like a mainstream mass-pleasing scent, I find it quite unique in its own way. So that was Dolce Peony from Dolce & Gabbana. My next pick will be quite an expensive fragrance, and I am talking about Armani Pivoine Suzhou. This is from Maison collection from Armani Prive line, which means that it is an eau de toilette. And I think from that collection, this is the best seller for a reason. And here you will find peony. You will also find rose and raspberry, and I think also pink pepper, although I don't get it so much. So the typical notes that go with peony. And again, although you have peony in like the name of the fragrance, I personally smell more the raspberry and the rose and then the peony. You will definitely get it, but to me it's not the main character, although the name of the fragrance. Although it has raspberry, so it has like some sweetness, it's a very light, watery kind of a fruity floral. If I'm not mistaken, Suzhou is a city in China where it's like Venice of China. So they have canals. So I find they captured like this atmosphere. So It's very watery, not watery, and I don't mean diluted. I mean like you find this watery aspect to this fragrance. And definitely the peonies help with this watery aspect to it, but it still has this sweetness from the raspberry. So to me, this is a very romantic, yeah, this is a very romantic fragrance. And I would recommend this fragrance despite the price tag, to be honest. It's a bestseller for a reason. Again, I have to admit, longevity and sillage is not great, but this is something that you would expect from an eau de toilette. So I really like this fragrance, and I do recommend it for a fruity floral lovers, but still with some sophistication to it. So Pivoine Suzhou from Armani Prive. My next pick is again a fragrance from a private collection from a designer, and this is Pivoine Printemps from Maison Lancome, or it's a private collection from Lancome. As always, I am always blown away by the bottle. And this is a strict floral and quite simple fragrance, but yet very elegant. And this has peony, rose, and pink pepper. I adore the pink pepper in this fragrance. It really gives it like this sparkling effect, very fresh and uplifting. And I bought this one and I didn't expect a long longevity and sillage, but it did surprise me. It remained for almost 5 hours, and like the sparkling effect from the pink pepper also remained till the dry down. So I was really happily surprised with like the performance on this one. And Lancome recently came out with a new fragrance called Rose Peonia or Peonia, I don't know how to pronounce it, and I did test that one. I will leave linked up here the video where I did like a quick review of that and other fragrances, and I decided not to include it in this video because I don't own it and I didn't test it on my skin, so I really didn't have the chance to play with it. But from my first impression, I do like it. So first impression is good. It's totally different to this one. In Rose Peonia, it's mostly the rose. So you get the peony, but it's mostly rose. It's fresh. With fresh, I mean like it's more of an authentic flower. So when you smell the flower, you get some green aspect to it. Not that it's a green fragrance, but you will get a little bit of a green note in it. Quite dewy and fresh fragrance. So totally different to Pivoine Printemps. My next pick is a niche brand, and this is Jo Malone Peony and Blush Suede. I have it here in a miniature. And like with a lot of Jo Malone fragrances, it's not love at first sniff. So really for me, Jo Malone is one of the brands that you have to test again and again and again to really appreciate the fragrance. And this one has quite a unique composition. So it's peony and suede, as the name suggests. It has also red apple and rose. When you first spray this fragrance, you immediately smell the peony, suede, and the red apple. And to me, they should have named this fragrance Peony and Red Apple. So although it has this leathery touch to it, on my skin the suede accord disappears quite quickly, and I am left with the beautiful peony rose red apple fragrance. So for anyone who doesn't like leather, test this one first on your skin and then decide. As with all Jo Malone fragrances, it has this watery aspect to it and also a bad longevity and sillage. After all, this is a cologne, it's not even an eau de toilette. It remained on my skin for about 2-3 hours, and for a cologne I find it amazing actually, because I have fragrances that are an eau de toilette and remain less than 2 hours on my skin. So I like this one a lot, and from all the fragrances that I'm going to show you, this is the most unique one. You will not find something similar to this one in the market, so it's high on my list, not only because of the peony concentration but also for uniqueness. Only issue is like the longevity and sillage, and also the price. Jo Malone fragrances are not cheap, but if you don't mind the price tag, this is a very, very beautiful fragrance. So Jo Malone, Peony and Blush Suede. My next pick is another niche brand, and it's Acqua di Parma, and I am talking about Peonia Nobile. I personally don't own the fragrance, but I have a tester. This is the most authentic peony you can get. Like all of Acqua di Parma fragrances, it's quite natural, very fresh, very authentic. It has also rose and raspberry, but the peony is really the star of the show here. It has a decent longevity and sillage. It has also musk, so it's definitely clean, it's fresh, clean, natural peonies. This is how I would describe it, with some sweetness. So if you are looking for a very natural smelling peony, then check Peonia Nobile. But again, it's quite an expensive fragrance. Acqua di Parma is, after all, a niche brand. It's very elegant and natural. This is how I would describe this fragrance. And now let's move to the other spectrum and talk about quite affordable options here. And my last picks are Versace, Bright Crystal Absolu and the original Bright Crystal. From all the fragrances that I talked about, these two have the most predominant peony in them. When I think peony, I always think about these two. The peony here is definitely the star of the show, from the first initial spray till the dry down. The original one is more heavy on the peony than the Absolu version. And I will talk about both of them together because I also want to compare them for you. So many people talk about the Absolu and say it's like an intense version of the original one. It's not exactly that. They have the same DNA, of course. The original one I would classify like a strict floral. It has pomegranate in it and yuzu, but to me this is peony, lotus, watery notes with a musky undertone. While the Absolute version is a fruity floral. So you can definitely there is the peony. It has also some pomegranate, but it has also raspberry, which gives this fragrance a little bit of sweetness that this one doesn't have. So definitely this is sweeter. It retains this clean aspect to it, like the musky undertone of it, and the watery aspect. But definitely the original one is much fresher, more like watery, has more of this watery aspect to it. I like them both. For me, this one is more for springtime, and the original one is more for summer because it's more fresh. So I gravitate towards the original one during summer. And now let's get to longevity and sillage. So a lot of people say that this remains on their skin much longer than the original one. So both of them don't perform very well on my skin, to be honest. This one remains slightly longer, but I mean like half an hour longer maybe than the original one. But I know that a lot of people, the Absolute version remains much longer on their skin. So definitely test on your skin. If I had to choose one, I would go with the original one. Because to me, as you can see, I have quite a collection of peony fragrances. And this one with the added raspberry doesn't make it quite unique, while this one is quite unique to my collection because of the lotus and the watery aspect of it. These were all my favorite peony fragrances. Please tell me in the comments down below which is your favorite, and if there is any peony fragrance that I should add to my collection. I hope you liked this video and I hope you found it helpful, and if you did, please give it a thumb up and consider subscribing to my channel. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of the exciting new videos that will come very soon. Thanks for watching and see you next time. Ciao!